All right, human behavior mastery. Dewane, what up, man?
Yes, sir. What's goody, my boy?
Man, ready to talk about these humans?
Yeah.
Find out why humans do what they do. We're here, man. How was your week?
It was good, man. Real busy. You know what I mean? Cheering and things.
Anything weird happen with other humans?
Things happen weird with humans every day.
Give me an example of a weird human behavior.
So I had on a flight. So I had the person next to me, like, I don't know if it was weird, but it was just a little quirky. Like they kept watching what I was doing, like in my phone.
How you know?
Because they kept watching what I was doing in my phone.
Like when they look at your phone, like they're looking at your phone, you look at them, they try to look up, or
no, like she just kept looking in my like kept looking, and I'm like, hi, like, hey, is everything okay? Like, hey, how are you? Oh, okay, let's just go back to the. So I don't know if she didn't feel safe, or I don't know what the vibe was, but like she just was a very curious or inquisitive person. You know what I mean? I just want to give the benefit of the doubt.
But what do you think? What do you think was going on?
Honestly, I don't know what was going on.
Hold on, that just seems awkward. Maybe put it on your joint so you can it don't turn off.
Yeah.
But like for somebody, okay. So I'm gonna be honest. I had a situation where I was on a plane, and this girl, she was next to me on the plane, and she had, I forgot what it was, but it was something that I thought was funny. She was doing on her phone.
She had on something that...
No, she was on her phone, and I forgot what it was. But it was something that I thought was very, very funny and very interesting that I wanted to post about. So I take my phone, and I act like I'm about to take a picture of myself, but I'm actually taking a picture of her.
Oh, you're a creep.
I am a creep, bro.
You're a creep.
It was, it was a while ago. I forgot what it was. But the flash was on. So I take a picture.
So it's embarrassing.
I take a picture, flash goes off. She looks at me like, I was like, oh man, I was trying to take a selfie. I promise you.
Time out. You trying to take a selfie on the back of the phone?
I try to take a picture of her phone with a flash on. I was like, oh wow, my bad. Wrong. I forgot what it was, bro, but it was something so funny that I wanted to post about. This was years ago. And that was just I don't know why I did that.
Nah, I get...
What was I doing?
The craziest things I see are on airplanes and the train. I don't really ride the train like that anymore, but like New York City trains are the most interesting place in the world. Like you see everything. Like you get on a train, like you could tell when everybody is stacked and nobody's on that side. You can tell it's like a homeless person that might not smell the best over there. Like you can tell on a train car just who the players are. The person sizing everybody up, the person that's about to start asking people for money.
But only you noticed that. Yeah. Not everybody. Like if I was in New York, I remember going to New York and I'd jump on the train. And I'm looking at, now I'm aware of what's going on. You might see something that stands out. You're like, all right, that person, I'm just going to watch that person. Okay. Yeah. But you, because you're in this human behavior space, you probably see everything.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think just my lived experience. So growing up in a real like crazy environment, it like shapes you. So it's like my natural way of thinking.
Yeah.
Couple that with like I've played chess probably since I was 2 years old. So I'm a very like strategic thinker. I think in sequence, and I'm always anticipating what's coming next. Right. So you couple that with humans and then getting into the work that we're in with like human behavior, and I can't stop people watching.
Yeah.
Like it makes some people uncomfortable. Like, well, why are you staring at people, or why are you not paying attention to me when I'm talking to you? Because my eyes are shifting around to what's happening in the environment. I'm always keyed into what's happening. And I for me, it is something that I can't turn off.
Gotcha. And you shouldn't, man, because it's why you're best in the world at it, man. Today we're getting into human behavior mastery, right? But I think a lot of people have heard of DISC, DISC assessment. And let's scroll up. Let's show the DISC. Oh, that's the
DISC. Yeah, this right there.
And your computer's about to die.
And my computer's about to die. I could probably charge it.
Yeah, we got it's an outlet right there, so you can go change.
Yeah.
I'll hold down the conversation until you. So a lot of people have heard of DISC, the DISC, started by William Marston.
Dr. William Marston.
Yeah, did he invent it, or he popularized it?
No, he created it.
He created it. But there are a bunch of other people who had the same science in terms of understanding that everybody has a predominant trait out of 4.
So the field of study, we think about behaviorism or behavioral psychology or social psychology. There's in my studies, there's Kurt Lewin, who is like the godfather, the person who created social psychology. So how people sort of interact with each other, right? Behaviorism speaks to how an environment shapes a person, but that also is inclusive of how we engage each other. Mm. So all of this stuff kind of like builds on each other. So you got Lewin who's there, and then Marston comes behind him and sort of builds this, and it's been popularized and it's been around probably almost 100 years, like going on 100 years now. So
sure. But there was another, and I need to pick, I wish I had my computer because I go into my studies. But there were other psychologists that found that there were like 4, they didn't call it DISC, but fire, water, the elements, and we all have a predominant trait. So this is a science that like people understand from way back in the day, like everyone's different, but there are 4 predominant character traits, not character traits, but behavior traits.
Right. Even if you think about in the sense of like archetypes, right? That's a term, or like, different. It just, we as people acknowledge that different people play different roles, and there are different types of people in the world. How you conceptualize that, how you communicate that is different. But this specific, psychologist chose to put it in 4 quadrants and, sort of look at it through this specific lens and these 4 elements of behavior. Yeah.
I think like if, for instance, you are going to say, describe a person using the seasons. I think there's something to this 4, right? You would say, okay, my cousin, would you describe my cousin as summer, winter, spring, or fall, right? And you'll be able to put everybody that you know into 4 of these categories based on your own perception of what a season represents to you. But once we understand that everyone is different, but we're not as different as we think. Like there are certain people where you can tell they're a type of person that they're going to exhibit some of these traits. And I think that's when you really start to get into human behavior mastery, networking, and getting the most out of your relationships.
Yeah. What I've realized is we're all doing things for the same reasons. How we choose to do it may differ, right? So again, it makes me think about Lewin's equation, right? So with Einstein, you got the theory of relativity, E equals mc squared. Well, Lewis' equation with social psychology is B, behavior, equals P, E, right? So behavior is a function of the individual and the environment. And it always makes me think about that.
What is the P?
Huh?
Does the P stand for
the person?
Okay.
Right? So the person, behavior is a function of the person and the environment. So B, right? B equals F parentheses P E, right? So behavior is a function of the person and the environment, which means that these are 2 variables that are at play. So there's like a story about these 2 twin brothers, right? And the father was an alcoholic, And they ask one brother, like, why don't you drink? And he goes, well, because my father was an alcoholic. I saw him drink my whole life. And you ask the twin brother, grew up in the same environment, same parents, everything. Why are you an alcoholic? Because I saw my father drink my whole life. Right? So the environment was the same, but the people were different. That explains the variance in behavior.
Absolutely.
Right? So there's the physical environment, but the psychological environment, our internal wiring, we relate to things in different ways. So though we're in the same space, the way we connect to everything in the space is different from person to person.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's jump into this disc real quick, man. Let's pull it up. I guess we got to go through the disc first, and we actually have Reese's assessment.
Reese.
So we are going to have a conversation with Reese about his assessment and why he does the things that he does and how he does the things that he does, and some of the reasoning behind it. But let's get into DISC. So the DISC, and I will go through, the life of this podcast, explaining it all. But I think if this is your first time watching, then we owe them to explain it. So you want to go to D or I?
Right. So again, these are 4 different quadrants of behavior. So you have the D, which speaks to the quadrant around being decisive. Mm-hmm. This is the quadrant that is around problem solving, like solving problems, and how you solve problems. Yeah. People who tend to be quote unquote high Ds are more aggressive, assertive, direct, driving about, forceful about how they solve problems. And people with lower are more thoughtful, more methodical, more intentional about the way that they go about it.
Will the New York in you prevent you from saying high D and low D?
Yeah, I hesitated for a second, you know what I mean? But like, I'm just a general pause.
Welcome to the pause
I'm
podcast.
gonna pause this for the whole joint, you know what I mean? Like, let's just get that out the way.
All right, so the D measures your decisiveness. I, interaction, your not ability. I'm not trying to use the word ability, but your preference.
Your preference, your willingness.
Engaging with other people.
Yeah.
So I'm a high I. I love this stuff. I love to sit down and have a conversation with people. I love going to hang out, mixing and mingling. Dewane, when he becomes a celebrity, he's going to be the person that says, I am all drained because I cannot go through the airport without people talking to me. When I'm going through the airport, people talk to me all the time, and I'm like, yo, that's what's up. You really rock with the show? I appreciate you. And I'll just sit there and engage because I love it.
That's the difference. I almost have no I.
What's your I number?
About 27.
27.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a 99.
And it adapts up to like a 32, and that's about all I got in me.
And a low I, for those that are watching, just to make you feel safe, doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It just means you're more introspective.
Yeah.
Meaning,
so it doesn't mean I don't engage with people. It doesn't mean I'm like anybody that knows me. If I know you already, or if we have a relationship, then I'll rock with you through and through. I'll run through a wall for you. Mm-hmm. If I don't know you, though, it takes time for me to let somebody get in my space. And I need a reason for us to build connection. I can't just give that away, right? So I have to build rapport, build trust. People laugh and joke and say I'm like really guarded and like secretive and mysterious. And it's just like, nah, it's just like, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? Like what do we have to talk about?
For sure. And then we have the S quadrant.
So that
actually, let's go down to the do you have the whole thing on here?
The definition.
Not the definitions, the vocabulary words.
The vocabulary words.
Let's go into the vocabulary words. Because this would give everybody a good idea of exactly what we're talking about. So you can zoom into the I. So for those that are, zoom into the I for me.
Yes.
Gregarious, okay? If you're gregarious, that's the highest form of extroversion.
Nah,
extrovertism.
keep it 100. You ain't even know gregarious was a word
I had
or
no
two.
idea what gregarious meant. Persuasive. High eyes are persuasive, meaning I will talk to you for a long time to get you to think the way I think, to get you out of your rut. I'm trying to persuade you to be happy about life. I'm trying to persuade you to my way of thinking. I'm trying to persuade you to go to this club. I'm trying to persuade you, and I have no problem having this conversation with you.
Yeah, you naturally bring energy to a room. You naturally light a room up, right? Like you speak the language of people.
Yeah.
Like intuitively.
Yeah.
And you genuinely like engaging with people.
However, let's not put it in a box because I can get peopled out sometimes. Believe it or not. Well,
I mean, you're human, right? You're human.
Yes, but only because I'm a high I and a high C. Sometimes my high C kicks in and I'm a watcher. And sometimes I'll get in my own head. And once I get in my own head, I've got to kind of withdraw. And I'm adapting. We'll get into all this kind of stuff. But let's get into the S, man. S, high in patience.
Right.
How you tend to pace the things in your environment.
Yeah, just
my high S friend. What's going on?
What's your vibe? So I'm a 99D, right? And I think it's interesting. Like me and Dave both have what you call like unicorn profiles, in that we have 2 really high scores in quadrants that are opposite from each other. Right, so the D and the S are opposites, and the I and the C are opposites. So I'm a 99D, but I also have a really high S. So my vibe is more chill, more cool, more calm and collected, unless there's a problem. And then if there's a problem, then that's different. But but yeah, I'm chill for the most part, and I like for there to be peace. Right, my mentality is I'm willing to go to war to keep it peaceful. I actually enjoy it being peaceful, but I don't mind it being staticky.
For sure.
So a person who's a high S likes things to be paced, likes things to be predictable, likes for things to be calm and stable.
I have a C, brother.
You know what I'm saying? Like
you took an assessment, a disc assessment? A disc assessment. You never took one? I got you.
Oh yeah, we're gonna change that.
Yeah, we're gonna change that.
Yeah. But yeah, so high S's are like the people who play the background. They like things to, you know what I mean? They want everybody to be supported. They're like the glue that holds the room together, whatever room they're in. But
that low S, go down to the low S, out of control.
Chaotic.
Spontaneity, meaning we make a decision and we go. We know those people, right?
Yeah, you one of them.
I'm not one of those. Kinda. So I forgot what my S was. I'm gonna look at my assessment. But
yeah, S is in the 40s.
Yeah. But I wouldn't go spontaneity or chaotic.
I mean, I wouldn't describe you as chaotic.
I'm more outgoing and I get restless.
Yeah, and that causes you to be spontaneous sometimes.
Not really. I wouldn't say I'm spontaneous in general. Now in business, there are certain things that I want to go after because I'm high on economics.
But I'm saying a person who's a high S would look at you as a person who's really spontaneous and really.
So that's why you're calling me that spontaneous, because you're a high S. I'm mid.
But somebody would call me spontaneous. But
depending on the scenario.
Right.
Yes. So that is our the C. Then we'll have the C assessment, and I think we'll put a link for you to take the disc assessment in the comments. It's only right. Then we got our C.
Yeah, go do the
C. Your preference for established protocols and standards, meaning high C's, I want to do things the way that they are supposed to be and designed to be done. I follow the rules. I am a high C, meaning when I get to a stop sign, I stop.
And I don't have the whole
C. Car.
I don't have no C. So my question is, who set the rules and why? Like, who said that's the way it was supposed to go? I see a lot of other ways to do it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
but I want to follow those. And high C, very particular, very precise. This is really where people are like, yo, they don't understand that I have the perfect profile for a podcaster.
You do. That is why you are successful in the way that you are because of your profile. You are tailor-made to excel in this environment.
Yep. I want to have a good time with the person I'm interviewing or engaging with my audience, but also I'm very cautious, meaning I have questions. I'm so cautious that I don't want my audience to get the wrong message, so I'm going to slow things down to make sure we get it right and make sure I understand it. But that's the curiosity. So, but you will see some people that are high I, right? Very extroverted, low C, and they're going to talk the whole time because they don't have any, the patience never kicks in to let someone else explain. Mm-hmm. I've seen that. Or a high D, high I, tough podcaster because you're going to go after it. You're going to have a thought and you have no, you don't have any pullback to say, let this person enjoy this moment. Mm-hmm. I'm here for what I have to say. So that's the DISC assessment. Let's talk to Reese real quick, man.
Reese was good.
Let's head over to Reese real quick in the studio, which is in the same studio we're in. So this is Reese's assessment, a 67D with an adapting 42, 28 I, that's so clear, 46S,
that's why we get along.
A 99C, adapting down ever so slightly to an 88.
So people are not really aware, again, if they're watching this for the first time, they don't know what natural and adaptive behavior is.
Let's talk about it.
All right, so natural behavior basically speaks to who you are when you're most comfortable, when you're in your natural environment, when you're doing the things that you want to do in the ways that you want to do them.
When you're not conscious of what's going on, you're just being you.
When you're just being you without thought, right? Your adaptive behavior is who you are when you know that you're being observed, when you feel stressed, when you're in an uncomfortable situation or environment. Mm-hmm. You have a preference for adapting and behaving a certain way, right? So everybody has natural behavior and everybody has adaptive behavior. Everybody is always trying to revert back to the natural behavior, but there is value in the adaptive, right?
100%.
So the analogy that I always use is we're land mammals. When we're on land and we're in our natural environment, we have to breathe, right? We inhale, we exhale to live. But if I took a human and I threw them in a foreign environment, threw them in water, and they did what they naturally do,
they die.
They die because you can't breathe underwater. You don't have gills. So you have to adapt and hold your breath. That's where the value is. But if you hold your breath for too long,
you die.
Yeah. So you have to have a deadline. You have to know when to say when and revert back to your natural self in your natural environment. And what I've found in doing thousands and thousands of assessments and working with people is that most people are experiencing stress and burnout and things that are not working because they're spending too much time. They're living in their adaptive essentially. And they're wondering why things are not working.
100%. Let's look at Reese's. The biggest adaptation is the D right there.
Yep.
I never think about it until I'm in this New York state of mind.
I'm sorry.
67, which is fairly high, and adapts down to 42. Not too much.
No.
But what this says to me is that Reese naturally is going to go after something, meaning he's going to naturally go after a problem. However, when there's pressure or people are noticing him or when he's in his own head, he's going to slightly scale back, but not as much as I do. So I think my, I don't have as much, but let's say somebody who drops dramatically. You ever did an assessment where they have like an 80D and then they go down like a 20? Drops off the cliff.
Yeah. So that's literally a person, like when people say you getting in your head, like they literally get in their head. So they go from naturally like, okay, like being confident, being assertive to, whoa, they question everything. And they're like, whoa, did I do this right? Or should I do this? And they start to calculate every step and every possible response. And essentially it's an overthinker.
Yeah.
Right. to put that in layman's terms. Yep. It's an overthinker.
A naturally aggressive person, or not even necessarily aggressive, but naturally decisive. But it's like that person who's like, they make a decision, they're going to go. Let's say a young lady going on a date, you might be powerful, woman in business, high D, make the decision. I don't care, I go. But because of that that behavior, or because of who you are, it may be challenging when it starts to coming to date. So you get in a date and you say, okay, whoa, so many people told me that I'm aggressive and I push these men away. So when I sit down to go to dinner, I'm not going to be that. I want to make a decision, but I don't want to be too aggressive to push the person away. Mm-hmm. And it's not an enjoyable experience because they're literally holding their breath the whole time.
Navy SEALs are trained to hold their breath for like 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and they're supposed to be the superhumans among us. So dinner is at least 45 minutes. That's a long time to not be yourself. And the other person got to know it's awkward. Like the vibe is off. Yeah. And to that point.
And that's for people that are adapting down, meaning natural high, the adapting is lower.
Yeah. And there is no good. There is no bad. There is, like, whether you adapt up or you adapt down, it's not right or it's not wrong. It just will dictate what happens in a particular scenario. Right. So if you're a person who adapts down, you get in your head and you start to overthink and you start to worry about what to do in a situation. Right. I'm a person, like, I'm a 99D. My adaptive is 95. There is really no change.
You are.
So I am who I am. I'm consistent. But I tell people all the time, if I make a mistake, if I make a decision and it doesn't work, I just make another one. And I make another one. And I make another one. And I make another one until I get it right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just iterate and rep my way to the right thing. I may break a lot of things in the process, but that's my way of going about it. Yep. Somebody else may slow down and take their time, and that's how they win.
Yeah, I saw this with Reese. So he was having a situation with somebody, and like I believe, like, Reese is, if something needs to be said, he's going to say it, right? If he has like a suggestion, he's going to get it off his chest, right? But in that particular situation with that person, he called me like, yo, this is the situation. I didn't say anything yet. I want to. What do you think I should do?
Do you know why?
He's adapting down. Yeah,
but he also, look at his C in his adaptive, right? So his C is still, his adaptive C is an 88. So he's still super precise, super exact, super like critical, right? But now he's becoming more, he's overthinking now. So he's becoming more conscientious, more like, I have to make the right move. So that's why he would call and stop, because you said before, he might just say what he want to say, but now he wants to be extra careful because he's still maintaining that high C in his adaptive, but the D is dropping.
But in the midst, he could have just said it to the person if he wasn't adapting down. Let's say he's like not adapting at all. In the moment, I'm going to say it because that's always what happens. Like this is what's been going on in my whole life. So, for instance, we were at dinner. we was at the event, and me and there was a guy at this party that was drunk, and I know Dewane.
Oh man.
He don't have a whole lot of adapting. Like, you don't adapt down as a D, right?
No.
But he's mature in who he is, because his normal thing is, okay, this dude's drunk. This is my man's party. I'm gonna go punch him in his face. Okay? But because of different conversations we've had, Dewane was able to like pivot and say, all right, this is what I would naturally be inclined to do, but I'm gonna pull this back. Let me go say something to Dave. And I don't even think he was saying something to me for me to do anything. I think he was telling me what he's about to do. And I was just lucky enough to say, hey, hold on, let's just calm down. I got him. Let me go.
Yeah. Like, when you have a certain level of self-awareness, you have to tap into the resources, the people, the places, the things to talk you off the ledge or stop you from doing something you're going to regret. Yeah. And you're my brother, and I know you, and I understand who you are. And I know that's that would be mortifying. That would just upset you in that moment. And so in that moment, I had to pause because I'm like, yeah, I want to solve this problem, but not at that expense.
Yeah.
Not at that expense.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I paused and I said, there's a different way to solve this problem. And that's when I was like, yo, listen, you got security around here, right? Let's, you know what I mean? Because you learn that there's more than one way to approach a situation. That's just my way of solving the problem, but it doesn't speak to all of the different solutions there are.
100%. If the roles were reversed, and we're still talking about like being able to manage your own assessment, I wouldn't think action in that moment. Let's say roles are reversed. My man Dewane's party, I see it. I'm automatically thinking, okay, first off, my eye says, hey man, everything good? Hey man, maybe you should just relax, just have a seat. That's how I handle it, right? Or I'd be looking for, okay, who is the right person to tell? I don't just jump into action because I'm a low 20 AD. So let's talk to Reese, man. Let's find out.
Yeah,
Reese, give me something that you're struggling with, and let's talk it through.
What do you mean what I'm struggling with?
Give me one thing that you're struggling with. If you could solve this problem today, your whole life would be better. Something that you're looking to accomplish. Talk to us.
Something I'm struggling with probably be like, something I've always been struggling with is being in a leadership position. It comes to me, but I'm always conscious about it because I, to an extent, don't want to kind of tell people what to do.
Yeah, we can see it's really political.
Yeah, I could see. I could kind of.
You want to touch the political real quick?
Yeah. Well, see, his political is pretty midline.
It's mid-level, yeah.
Right.
He doesn't have the desire. I love to lead, right? Because I'm high political.
Yeah, I'm a high political too.
Yeah.
But I think what it is, like if I looked at his assessment in totality, right? Being a high C, the biggest anxiety producer for a high C is criticism or making a mistake. So shying away from leadership, you get to make the decisions and everything rests and falls on your decision making.
It's in your control.
It's in your control. You get to say, you get the credit and you get the blame. He's a high C. He does not want to make a mistake, especially if it impacts another person. You couple that with the fact that he's a low I, he's also very guarded, not very expressive. So he's not going to put himself in those situations because now as a leader, you in a spotlight. He don't like the spotlight. He wants to be in the background. So now he's in a position where it's like, if I do lead, I want to lead from the back. Pause. I don't want to like, I had to. Like, he wants to lead from the background. He doesn't want to be in the front because he doesn't like the limelight. He doesn't like attention. He doesn't want a lot of people looking at him or people in his business or anything like that. He doesn't want to have a bunch of conversations like that. To lead, you're in the people business. You have to groom and nurture and pour into and like grow people. Not to say that he doesn't care about people, but that's going to burn him out because that's not how he's naturally wired.
Yeah. Let's go into the values real quick because I think it says a lot in those values from his assessment.
So how do you feel about that, Reese? Like, does it resonate with you? Like, how do you feel about that?
Some of it, like I know you guys said in the beginning. I don't really care about what people think. More of it's me. I don't want to fail, and I don't want other people to fail either. So when I'm managing someone and I know I could have done it, it's like, okay, I could have just done it versus, hey, do this for me, and then they don't do it.
All right, but I think that lends itself to the it's rooted in criticism. So if you're going to do something, you'll just and it doesn't affect anybody else, you'll just do it. Why? Because if you do it wrong, nobody knows.
But also he knows that if he does it, he'll do it right.
Yeah, 100%.
Him doing
he
it
has enough time.
in his mind, him doing it equals success, but he's risking letting you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it's not. So if I do something and I get it wrong, I can take responsibility
100%.
for me doing something wrong. But it's hard for me to take responsibility for something else that I know I could have done, but I gave it to someone else.
For sure.
So it's more of the failure part and me having no control over the failure.
That makes perfect sense.
But let's say, for instance, let's say it's your idea, your company, you have me do something and I do it wrong. It's not going to, you're not going to feel it as bad as if it's my company and I have you do something, but you have someone else do it and they fail. They do it wrong, but now it falls on you because you still got to like look to me and be like, yo, dang, I did it wrong. I mean, like your whole organization did it wrong. Mm-hmm. Right? So if it's your company, you're not, oh my gosh, I can't believe we did it wrong. It's just, yo, this person did it wrong. I'll go fix it. It's all good. Am I right?
Yeah.
It is. It's just one of those things, right? Mm-hmm. So some people, and the only reason I know because I'm high C too, and my biggest fear is that criticism, that someone else is going to see me do it wrong. So this happened the other day, yesterday actually, my baby almost fell off the bed. Okay?
Can we stop for a second? Did we not have this conversation?
What?
The baby's gonna fall off the bed.
But she didn't. Here's what's crazy. So, wow. I'm like, she'll just roll around on the bed. She'll just roll. And she's like hype. And I'm watching her. But for a while, my wife is always like, if my baby gets to the edge of bed, my wife's like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, yo, she's not even on the edge. She's like, she got mad room before she actually falls and tumbles, right? So my wife is in the bathroom. The door's open a little bit. The bed is outside, so you can see the bed from the bathroom. We're on the bed. My baby's jumping around, and she takes this roll and almost tumbles. I grab her legs, and she doesn't fall. And my baby is shook. Sarai is shook. Like, she's like, oh my gosh. So I grab her, I pick her up. What's the first thing I do?
I'm sorry, baby.
Look to see if Dre is watching. If she was watching, I'd overreact. Oh my gosh, yo, are you okay? You good, baby? Oh, we're good. Because I know she would come out like, oh my gosh, right? But she wasn't watching. So I grabbed the baby and said, oh, you good?
It never happened. It never happened. Look at that.
It never happened, right? But I'm so worried
about the judgment.
The judgment and the criticism of I did something wrong, especially after you told me, don't let her play near the edge of the bed. So that was my biggest anxiety.
And I would think, especially with you, it's almost like a double dose because you're a high I too. Mm-hmm. So you care about how people feel, what people think, their opinions and things like that. A high I's biggest fear is rejection. So if you got judgment, it's like, oh, you think negatively of me. That will weigh on your conscience. And so you're probably looking at everything through that lens of like, I have to do it correct
100%
all the time.
Yeah.
And everybody's watching. And like, it may feel like you don't have room to make a mistake or to be human.
100%. I would say to you, Reese, no, go ahead.
Like what, I still don't think it's that. I really think it's more of a fear because now that I'm around you and I see how you operate, like leading it's not as much of weight because I know if this happens, I can do this. Mm-hmm. So it was more of a fear of not being in control. And even if I feel like if I'm leading someone and something goes wrong, I know I can do A, B, and C to get it done. Mm-hmm. Versus me not knowing A, B, and C put more anxiety on me leading someone and going down that path and not knowing about A, B, and C.
For sure. But what do you think the fear is? The fear is something. It's not.
It's still a fear.
Yeah, it's not fear. Fear doesn't live by itself. Like, oh, yeah, I'm afraid I'm afraid. It's something there.
But it's not. I don't think it's. If it's anything about judgment, it's judgment on myself, not of other people.
But it doesn't matter. It is a. But see, and now we're gonna and I don't want to turn this into like a therapy session or nothing, right? Somebody taught you to do that. Like the judgment of self, somebody said something to you, somebody reacted in a way that made you start to judge yourself. You wasn't born like that. So it's a learned behavior. So we got to get to, well, when was the first time you thought to judge yourself? Like, what happened in that instance? Some people are aware of it, some people are not, but everything we're doing is learned. We can trace back all of this to a particular instance or an occurrence. Like, oh, that's why you do that thing. It's just such a habit now that you do it on autopilot. You're not even thinking about it.
Yeah.
So whether you're judging yourself or somebody else is judging you, it's still judgment. It's still a fear that plays itself out. One of the things that I noticed is you might feel more comfortable because Dave is a C and you're watching a C operate at this level and lead. So because y'all speak the same language, you're naturally covering things that would make him anxious because you're going to cover yourself so you're not anxious. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. So even when I never fail to, because this is what I need. Say Reese sends me a video and I don't like it. I'm not going to say I don't like it. I point out some parts that are good about it. Like, oh, this joint is dope, but I think we should change this and that. Because I'm talking to somebody like me. I need to know that I did something good. Right? So if my wife just tells me all the stuff I did bad, we're in a shouting match. We don't shout, but I'm upset. Tell me the thing I did good first.
The sandwich method?
Tell me how we can adjust.
The sandwich method?
100%. So here's my question, Reese. Let's say you have your own event, or let's say you do your own podcast, right? You sit here, you record your podcast, and you're going to produce it. You also record Social Proof Podcast or this podcast. What hurts more? If you lose all the footage for someone else's podcast or for your own?
Somebody else's.
Somebody else's, for sure. There are some people in the world, they wouldn't care either way. They'd be like, yo, it's just my bad. Let's just do it again. Let's just do it again.
Let's do it again.
So this is that shows, and it's not a bad thing because it keeps you on your toes as someone that wants to offer great customer service, somebody that wants to get it right for the person, but it's still going to be a little bit of anxiety in there because I don't want to be judged based off something someone perceived that I did in a negative way, or my work, especially because you do really, really good work and it takes you, well, you're a lot faster now, but like you put pride into your work. And I can imagine, just like me, I don't like criticism, doesn't feel good to me. It really, really feel like I get anxiety over criticism.
You take it as a reflection of who you are.
100%.
Like we were just having
some people who don't care. That's not a thing for them at all.
It's not. Some people, like we were just talking before, like some people don't know how to separate the behavior from their person. So like, hey, this thing you're doing, maybe we should look at changing it. I don't really like this thing that's happening. It doesn't mean I don't like you. It's the behavior. The two are not like the same, right? So there's some separation between that. But a person who's a high C, they are so invested, right? They measure twice, cut once. They put so much. They're perfectionists, so they put so much of themselves into the work. It's impossible for them to separate who they are from the thing that they do.
For sure. 100%.
So they're going to take it like it's a personal criticism when it's not.
Yeah. Yo, Neil don't make you nervous, bro? Every time we do a podcast with Neil, I get deathly nervous, bro. I was literally about to call him today, like, all right, I can't do because I know he wants things a certain way, and I know we give it. I'm holding my breath. It's something because he's a perfectionist. So Reese, he'll make you nervous a little bit. He's going to critique the work for sure.
Yeah, it doesn't make me nervous.
It's like going to get a whooping. Like, you know, you're about to get a whooping. Like, man, let's just get this over with, man. Let's just.
Yeah, I don't want to comment.
Right, exactly. But like, I'm sure maybe there's some, like, you're gonna send me a video, and you don't send me the video and go about your day, right?
No.
What happens?
I sit and wait for like 2 hours for you to text me back.
He's going to wait.
He's holding his breath the whole time.
I'm telling you, Reese, there, and I just want you to like take a deep dive into like, just start to notice some things in terms of how you take, receive, or feel about criticism. Because now I know it, because like this assessment was crazy, because when someone started telling me about it, at first I'm like, man, I don't care about what people think. But then I was like, yes, I do, a whole lot. And me saying, I don't care what you think, is me caring what people think. Like, it's like I'm trying to like overcome it. But now that I own it and I really, really care about criticism, I try not to put myself in a position to be criticized. So even in a post we made about Kanye West today, I took both sides. Like, I'm gonna say, okay, well, he did something that he wasn't supposed to do, but I understand why he did it. Why? I don't want anybody to point and say, oh, you're on that side. But now I own it. I can navigate and protect my own feelings from criticism.
How you feel? Like, I'm pretty sure you feel better when you have read receipts on when somebody's texting. Because to send a message to somebody and then just wait for the like, are they going to respond back? Or when you see the 3 dots for the bubble, that sends the anxiety through the roof. I needs to know, like, what are you about to say? Like, put them read receipts on and let me see what's happening. But you feel safe with knowing and making sure that everything is done a particular way. Like you said, there's a way to do this. Yeah. And you want to get it done right the first time. You don't want to have to repeat and come back to it. And I think that's what makes C's special. Like, for me, they're like the anchors of reality in the environment. Me personally, I'm a person that's an extremist. So I'm polarizing in any one of the directions. I'm very black and white. And a lot of times it's like, yeah, no, this come back this way a little bit. And because I'm going to make a mistake. I'm going to break something. I'm like, yo, let's just get it done. I'm not really paying attention. Not that I'm not paying attention to it, but I don't care about all the minute details. But one of those details may fracture something that we may not be able to replace.
100%.
That's where a C comes in to save the day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I think I's become really popular, but C's become really, really rich.
C's are essential. C's make the world go round. Like, and we're not gonna go down that path, but the whole Kanye situation and things that are happening, C's.
Yeah.
C's.
100%.
C's write laws, C's do it, like C's control the background.
Yep. They write the laws.
They write the laws.
Take care of their generations to come.
Yeah.
It was some C's that wrote that law that was thinking 100 years from now to protect my people.
Yes. There's C's lay the foundation. C's are wired for structure.
Go to the vocabulary words real quick, because this is like important. Like, one of the most valuable people, because it may take a little longer to get it right, but this person is going to get it right. Perfectionist, systematic, careful, analytical. Not everybody's careful. And they go through life making these mistakes. That's why, bro, and I used to I still apologize for it. They'll send me a video and I just see how this point doesn't connect. Now, somebody else might like it, but I got to send it back out and you got to fix this part of it. Right? Or I'm going to see a bunch of stuff that other people don't see. But I understand that, like, C's are the most valuable people on this planet. If they can get if they have time to create their magic, and they have somebody else running around expending energy, talking to everybody and doing all the ads and being front facing, if a C has time to let their brain operate, billionaire status. Mark Zuckerberg.
Because here's the thing, and here is the most important piece to that equation. Excellence. Perfection is not real. Once you can get a C to acknowledge and accept that perfection isn't real, but excellence is, and you're wired for excellence, they are a game changer. Mm-hmm. But secretly, like subconsciously, they are chasing perfection at all times, and that's where it starts to get tricky. Thanks. But if you give them enough runway, there's nobody that executes better than a C.
That's a fact. Cautious. Being cautious. All right, let's go into values real quick, man. And let's talk to this leadership. I think even when I saw this when you first took it, I was like, oh, I see. One, high economic, where economic isn't always about money. So let's just explain values, right?
Right.
These are the drivers.
Right. So DISC answers how questions. How does a person prefer to show up in a space? How do they prefer to apply themselves in an environment? Values speaks to why questions. Well, why do you do like you ever see somebody like, yo, why does he do that? Or why is he always values answers that question. What drives this person to do what they do? And there are 7 values that make up this index that illuminates what motivates a person, the things that are sort of under the hood that gets a person, right? Because people make decisions, most people make decisions based on emotion, based off feeling and impulse, right? I'm not trying to get into dopamine and all that, but like impulse and emotion, these are the things that are going to push the buttons to trigger a person to do something and take action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's run through them. Aesthetics.
So we have aesthetic, which speaks to a person who's wired or a person who values peace and harmony and value. I mean, peace and harmony and balance. Mm-hmm. They care.
Things look and
yeah,
feel.
they care about feng shui. Like they're like the vibe got to be. Yeah. The vibe is off in here, right? That's a person whose aesthetic value is really high.
Yeah, Marcus was in here earlier. He was like, "Yo, everything in my closet got to look a certain way. Like they're like, I need my shirts folded this way." I would imagine high aesthetic.
Super
and high aesthetic.
My aesthetic is super low.
Mine's is too.
And we laugh like I'm a habitual cage shaker. Like I slap bears. I'm all over the place. I'm on whatever. Right? For some people, it literally drives them crazy because they're like, how are you just so fluid in that way? And I'm just like, I just need things to be functional. Does it work? Cool. I don't care what color it is. I'm not really concerned about that. Mm-hmm. So for me, function is important.
Bro, my wife drew me a bath one time for my birthday. And she's like, oh, well, she set the tone. I'm talking about had the music, had the candles around, like little flower petals in the tub, bubble bath. She's like, yo, baby, you need to relax. You need to chill, right? So she had somebody come to the house, do a massage, and then she kind of set up the tub. I had like some little juice by the tub, juice and water, little chocolates.
Little Coming to America one time.
Oh, bruh. Yo, it was just beautiful, nice, serene. So she's like, all right, I'm gonna leave you. Just relax. Just try to kind of, you're always running. You just need to relax. I get in the tub and I sit there for about 3 minutes. And I'm like, yo, why do people like this? Like, I don't like that. Like, I'm low aesthetic, meaning when it's too peaceful and quiet and everything is like chill, something's wrong for me. Or I'm like, yo, my mind is running. I don't want to sit in this tub. I don't understand how somebody can sit in a tub with just music playing for an hour. Now there's somebody that's high aesthetic that might say, yo, I need that to survive. So it's just different people. So I'm not driven by that. So when you're talking to somebody that's like a high aesthetic, they have to go off the energy and things got to feel right and the setting got to be right. If you want to impress somebody that's high aesthetic, just make sure everything looks good and is clean and feels right. For me, I just need to know, like you said, like functionality. Let's just get to it because that's not it's not a big driver for me.
I was talking to a CEO that was like, I want to bless my team. I want to do some, like I'm looking for ways to incentivize people to like step the game up. You know what I mean? And they were like, yeah, I'm gonna get them like a bonus. And I was like, oh, the bonus ain't gonna work. I was like, what you mean? I'm like, the aesthetic is high. I'm like, what's gonna happen is your economic is high. So you're gonna give them a bonus. Thinking a bonus is gonna mean something. And then when they go, oh, thanks. You're gonna get offended because you're like, wait, I just gave you a bonus. Like, it didn't hit the way that you thought it was going to hit.
Do me a favor. Go through them all so they understand what's happening, the economic, and just run through them real quick.
Right.
Run through them real quick.
So we already spoke to aesthetic, right? So economic speaks to individual, right? So as an individual, you're wired for an incentive. You are competitive, or you care about money. So it can be any one of those three. It can be all three of them, but it speaks to those three things, right? So incentives, competition, and money. Then you have individualistic. This just means you like things to go your way. You like to have your fingerprint, put your spin on something. Like it got to be your way. You got to put your touch on it, your signature to it. Political means, okay, I want to win, but I want to win as a leader and I want to win as a collective. So if you think back, I always think about like the line leader in school. Like, listen, I'll be on the line. I just want to be in the front, right? This is a person who likes to be the initiator. They want the team to win. It isn't about them. They just want to be the leader. Then you have altruism, right? So the altruist speaks to you caring about developing, growing, and just like supporting people. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't care about people if you have a low. Bruh. It doesn't mean that you don't care about people if your altruism is low. The way that I like to communicate it to people is like it's like boundaries. So a person with high altruism usually struggles with boundaries. But a person with low altruism has really good established boundaries for how they function and how they deal with people. Regulatory speaks to wanting to create structure, right? Wanting to establish structure, wanting to
create the rules.
You want to make the rules. You don't want to just follow them. You want to create them. Theoretical speaks to wanting to learn. Like, what type of learner are you? A person with a high theoretical likes to learn just to learn. A person with a low theoretical likes to learn for the sake of applying something. So they just want to learn stuff that they can go do something with. They don't want to know all the stuff. So those, like, everybody is driven by these things in a unique way. Yeah. And once we look at a profile, we can see the things that stand out, like what people sort of lean into or what piques their interest and the things that they don't really care for.
Gotcha. So Reese, high economic, high individualistic, mid-level political, theoretical.
Yeah.
So there needs to be some sort of incentive, or there's a goal. There's like you would be really, really good if you set a specific goal in front of you, because that will make you run. And not that someone else is setting a goal. Like, you set your own goal, you'll go after it. So there are some people that are high economic that are frustrated because they're grinding. I want to get to the money, but you didn't set a target for yourself. If you set that target,
changes everything.
Changes everything. Because right now you're not running after anything.
Mm-hmm.
But your value says, yo, I'm driven by having some sort of target to reach.
Yeah. My economic is so high. I tell people I'm probably the most easily manipulated person in the world. I'm a 99D and I got a high economic. So all you have to do, even if I don't want to do it, if you challenge me to something, it's like I have to. Yeah. Like it like I don't feel comfortable not doing it now because I have to show you that I could do it.
Right. For sure. Let's talk to that.
So with we want to go someplace else?
We'll get Reese.
Yeah, with Reese, it's like he has Reese needs a goal. He needs to be incentivized, but he also has to have the space and the environment to do things the way he does it. He has to have the space to be creative. He has to have room to flow. He also needs to be in an environment that's going to help him grow and like is stimulating to him like intellectually. Like, it's like, oh, this is interesting. I like this. Like, he has to be able to be curious in the environment. That is the best way to motivate him and get the most out of, his output.
Yeah. Reese, what say you?
Yep.
For sure. I was talking to Reese, and every so often, because I actually saw this assessment, every so often, almost every time I see him, I'm like, yo, we need, what's your objective? What would make you, what is the thing that you want to do? What will make you happy? And I just see it because of the economical, like there's once Reese finds, and it may be a frustration because if I don't have the specific goal in front of me, I'll be frustrated because I have nothing to run after. Mm-hmm. Now, not everybody's driven by that. Like you can't dangle a dollar in front of everybody and they say, "Oh, I'm going after it." But I can challenge a Neo. I can challenge a Him 500. I can challenge Reese, and he'll step up to the plate because he has something to go after. But I think what's interesting is that high individualistic, Reese isn't going to want to be cookie cutter. Like we need to put a unique spin on it. I want to make sure that I leave my own mark on the world. But again, not everybody's driven by that. There are some people that are not individualistic, and you're telling them to create something. They're like, yo, I'm not driven to create. Political, like with the leadership, I was doing a staff training and had this one guy over a department. And his boss brought me in because he's like, yo, we got to figure out how to incentivize this guy, right? Like, he's not leading his people. Like, he has like 4 or 5 people that he's responsible for. But what he does is he just takes all the work and does it. He'll take all the work off their plate and say, yo, I'm just going to get it done. And I was looking at his assessment and I was like, this guy's not a leader. Not that he doesn't have the ability to be a good leader, but he's not driven to lead. Look at his political. Look how low it is. It's like an 18 political.
He operates on obligation and duty.
100%. But it was high economic. He said, yo, well, if we made him a manager, why would he take the position if he's not driven to lead? I said, look at the economic. You'll pay him more money. So he said, sure. Mm-hmm. So I'll take the money, but I'm not going to lead these people.
I still want to be part of the team.
100%. But this is what I have a session with the guy, and the first thing he says is, I don't really feel like grown people need to be told what to do. He's like, I don't feel the need to be babysitting grown folk. Let's just get the work done. He's not driven to lead. So in your organization, you'll be able to see this stuff and say, oh, well, I need to incentivize people another way. So if you take that same guy and says, yo, it's not about getting the work done. I need this done, but I need all of your people to hit certain marks. Well, now the manager is more inclined to lead people because now it's a part of being challenged. And if all your people hit their marks, then you'll get a bonus.
You get a bonus. Now I'm incentivized.
Yep. Now I'm going to go lead.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to make sure they get done what they do. Because you can't do all their work. You got to make sure they hit their numbers.
That is your work.
That is your work.
Yeah.
That is your work.
Like I said, you have to go and speak that person's language. Yep. So like I was saying before, the CEO was like, yo, listen, I'm going to just give them a bonus. I said, that's not going to work. Because you're going to give them a bonus, and when they don't react the way that you want them to, you're going to feel like it's going to throw you off. Yeah. I said, but they do have a high aesthetic. So you know what they would love?
So in the office, it was more aesthetic than anything?
This particular employee was a high aesthetic.
Oh, gotcha. So it's talking about one person. I got you.
Right. And they were just sort of taking a blanketed approach to, I'm going to just give everybody a bonus. And I'm like, let's start looking. So this particular person, that person came up and it was like, no, they have a high aesthetic. Give them an extra 2 weeks off. Or let them pay for them to go on a vacation, all expense paid, and watch how they react. Mm-hmm. They care about being refreshed and being in good environments. And like, that's what they care about. Send them on a vacation with their family. Watch how they come back like ready to take on the world. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. So it's important for us not to just do what we would care about or motivate people in the way we're motivated. It's taking the time to figure out what motivates them and giving them exactly what they want and what they need before they have to ask for it.
100%. We gotta wrap up, man.
Oh yeah, we gonna. Yeah. Hey, the time flies when you're having fun.
Oh,
man.
For sure. Questions, comments, Reese? And there's a lot to unpack in this, and we didn't even get into the attributes, which is a whole nother mental
That's
game.
Doctor Strange in the multiverse right there.
All right. Questions, comments, Reese?
Not really. I don't really have any questions.
I see vibe.
It's kind of like more reassuring than anything. Pretty much like it's stuff I've been thinking, but didn't know for sure. So this conversation, like, reiterated that this is what's going on.
Good. So, Dewane, man, how do people like connect with you, do office trainings? Because once you get this like disc language in your office, everything turns up, because now you teach a whole organization how to treat each other. So now we're putting people in categories D, I, S, and C. Don't criticize that high C like that.
Don't do that.
Hey, that person's a high D. Stop telling them stories and reasons. Give an answer.
Bro, we trying to end the pod. Don't trigger me. But yeah, the idea is there's a bunch of people in an environment. Let's use our differences to make a difference. Right? When everybody feels seen and everybody feels understood and everybody feels celebrated for who they are and not who they think they're supposed to be or who we think they're supposed to be, they perform better. Yep. They live better. Right? Yep. So really, you could text DISC to 347-657-6682. That is 347-652-6682. Text DISC. You'll get a link to an assessment.
There it is.
You know what I mean?
There it is.
I'm Dewane Mutunga on everything.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm saying? It's just my name. Just my name. It ain't nothing fancy. But yeah, like this is work this is life work. Yeah. Honestly. Like, even in the office space, you're doing work with people, you're working with people. So we have to tackle some of these issues at the people level. Yeah. And once we do that, everything else becomes a breeze.
There it is. Listen, man, make sure y'all follow me at sleepisfor with the number 4 suckers, SUCKERS on Instagram. If tap it, make sure you subscribe to this podcast, follow this podcast, share this podcast with everybody that you know that can help. And we out of here, man. Peace.
Uno.